Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I'll be talking about a major update slash improvement that I've made to my opening repertoire. And this will be a pretty big video as I would like to explain everything, like the changes I've made, why I've made those changes, this software, and some more updates that I've made to the actual repertoire. So before we get into this video, I would first like to take a sip of water since this video would most likely be 20 to 30 minutes or maybe even longer. Okay, so if you didn't watch my previous video, I used to use a website called leadchess.org to build my opening repertoire, and honestly I would still recommend leadchess to beginners who want to build like a basic opening or just want a fundamental understanding of openings. But once you get to the more advanced level, it can become quite annoying to use lichess to build opening repertoires because you have to open up a new board for every line, opening, or variation, which can become quite annoying after a while. But on here you don't. And I'll show you the specifics of this software later, but first I like to talk about this app and lichess overall. So lichess is still great for building opening repertoires, but it's just annoying. And if you want to get into the specifics of the openings, like the different lines on say move 10 or something, I really suggest you to use another software than lichess, since you do have to open a lot of boards and it does sort of waste time in my opinion. So instead I got Chess Position Trainer, and you do have to download this. Like, you can't just open it on a Google browser. So hopefully your computer has enough space to download this. And this app is great in my opinion for building an opening repertoire. The app itself does cost money. I mean, there is a free one which I got and the paid version. And in my opinion, the paid version, its paid features aren't really needed. Like, I checked all the paid features, and in my opinion, the free ones has pretty much everything that I need, well, at least to build an opening repertoire. So I did not get the paid version, which I sort of thought was a waste of money, and instead just got the free version, which up to right now is working great. And I've also heard about ChessBase, which you can use to analyze games and to also see the database and also to build an opening repertoire. But unfortunately there isn't a free version of ChessBase, so I did not get that. And instead I got Chess Position Trainer. And you might be able to see this, but the software itself is actually quite old. And I believe it was last updated like many years ago, maybe 10 years ago. And even from the UI, I guess that's what you call it, maybe something else, but just from the appearance you can tell it's quite old, but even though it's kind of old, it still works really well, so I would still recommend you to get it. And at first it might seem like there are a lot of different buttons up here, and it might seem confusing at first, but really it's not. And in my opinion, you don't even need like most of this. Like, I've built a massive repertoire and I haven't used like most of these buttons, so you just have to get used to a few things, and then after that it'll be smooth sailing from there on. So I think I've covered everything I wanted to say about lichess and Chess Position Trainer, so I'll just get on to my actual openings. So I'm a bit thirsty right now, so got another sip of water. But yeah, basically you have to open, you like right click first and then open a repertoire. You can name it whatever you want. And I've got my repertoire here. So there's a white and black section. For white, I've got everything that I need. Like the Rui Lopez, all my variations are here. And the good thing about this, like I said, which differs from lichess, is that you don't have to open a new page for every variation. So for example, this is the Berlin defense. Let's say that black goes bishop c5, right? And my move is c3. Now let's say I want to look at a different variation. I do not have to open a new tab for every little variation that I look at. And this is very useful because sometimes if you have like a lot of arrows, they can get messed up, which I don't like. But this feature makes it really easy to use and definitely just smoother and less time consuming than lichess. So that's again one of the positives. And another positive that might be good or bad is that this has an engine here. Now, I actually still use the lichess engine because I'm not entirely sure what engine this is. Like, I don't know if it's like Stockfish 15, Stockfish 10, or maybe even another engine like Lila or Komodo. And I'm not exactly sure how you know what engine this is. I don't think you can find out or can change this engine, so instead I just stick with lichess and use the Stockfish, the latest version of Stockfish. But if anyone has an idea of what engine this is, you can just leave it in the comments below. So, I don't usually use this engine thing. And another good feature about this is that it actually has the name of the specific openings. And I didn't know about that before, but now I do. So before I was going back and forth from like chess.com to know the names of each opening and then write them down, but now I can just look down here and then find out which opening is which. Now, I've actually massively expanded on the size of this repertoire compared to the one on lichess because I'm not as annoyed as opening the different lines and stuff because it's less time consuming, it's much easier than lichess, and I would say that this is a massive benefit because now I know more lines. Like if I scroll all the way down here, I even have openings prepared against these silly lines like the George defense, which is a6, and all these other weird moves that you don't typically see in a game. So this is another benefit of chess position trainers that you don't have to open a new tab or page for every little variation. Now there is a oh, this is a bit weird because yeah, usually you can open a new variation here, but I don't really like doing that. I think I did that once in my black repertoire in the D4 stuff. So I have opened some sub variations, but typically I don't do that, and instead I just open a new page for the different variations. So here the Nightorf, as you can see, I'll show you some of the stuff that I have marked down. So this is obviously the Nightorf, and black has like how many? 6 different replies, and for every one of them I have a move. And if he plays this, then I have another move. So as you can see, you don't have to open a new tab for every little detailed variation. And apart from that, I've also studied some of the weirder lines. And I think this may not be great, but I still put time into these, and you might say that it's a waste of time and you'll never really see these in actual games, but it's still good to like learn about them. Like for some of these weird openings, I wrote a little history comment about them. And that lets you know a tiny bit more about chess history, who invented it, and why they played it. So like I said, there is a white and a black section of this uh, repertoire thing, and I've got all my responses here against e4, d4, c4, knight f3, knight c3, g3, and all of those, the other openings and all that. So I am definitely I'm definitely better prepared if making a repertoire on position trainer, chess position trainer compared to Lichess. And as you can see here, this is my main repertoire. Now, I've also have a Gambits repertoire, which is what I'll play if I'm just playing casual chess, and not in a tournament or when I'm trying to, I guess, play seriously, quote unquote, but I've got some wacky gambits in my gambits repertoire, and so far I only have the King's Gambit, but I haven't had too much time to make any other ones. But the King's Gambit is pretty big, and I'll just show you the line that I've been working on. And yeah, so you can see there are 6 different moves once again, and against all of these I have a response. So if I play the King's Gambit against you, I'm just giving you a warning. It's probably not going to be great on your end, but maybe in the future I'll add some other gambits. If you have any suggestions for good gambits, then I'll probably add them. And apart from this, there's also the black section, of course. I actually don't know much gambits for black, which you might make fun of me about, but I really don't. Like, all I know is the Stafford, England gambit, maybe the Black Deemer gambit or something like that. I don't even know if that's the proper name, but those two are the only gambits I know as black. I do not have any wacky sidelines yet. But like I said, maybe in the future I'll create some. And I think I've talked about my main openings and all that. So I will give you a tiny overview of how to use the software, I guess. So basically, you right click, you open a new repertoire. Let's say you name it my repertoire or something like that. And as you can see, you have a white section, you have a black section. You can click on a new folder if you want to make a new opening tree, or I guess something like that. So let's say you wanted to study the Sicilian, so you just open a folder, and you can also delete stuff. So let's say you want to delete this, you can delete, and you can also just right click, press new opening, and this is for if you want to create like a variation, I guess. And you can only, well, not you can only, but I guess I would recommend you to do it for the large variations such as the Nightorf or the Dragon. Like, I wouldn't really recommend you to open a new tab for each tiny variation, since Chess Position Trainer has great features for those. And overall, let's just say you want to study the Nightorf, you would open this tab. And if you want to study the Accelerated Dragon, you would open another tab. And that's pretty much how I use the software. Well, my throat was itching, but now it's much better after that drink of water. And there's also this training feature, which I've never used too much. But you can like really hammer down the openings in your head using this feature. Personally, I don't think it's all that great, but it definitely is interesting. Like, I've never really looked at all of this. Um, I still do not fully understand how you use all of this yet, and in my opinion, it really isn't needed. Like, all you need is just you just need to understand the basics of adding, deleting, and renaming all your lines. And you can use this engine, like I said, but in my opinion, the Lichess engine is better. Let me just get rid of this real quick. And there's also a great comment section here if you want to write some details or notes about each line. And the comments will refresh after every move. So let's say I add some stuff here. New position. You have a new open blank tab to write your new comments for this position. And this is also another great feature. I haven't yet had time to write about every single move and every line, but maybe in the future I will. Now, I've only created this entire repertoire like a week or so. Well, I got this software a week or so ago, so I haven't had time to get everything down. But as you can see, I have my white opening really well hammered in onto the software, and I have everything ready to go. All I need to do is just add the lines, and I'm pretty well prepared. And in my opinion, that's pretty much it. Like, that is all I have to do. And one other thing is how I pick my moves. For example, how do I pick that I will be playing g3 in this position? Now, to answer you, first I will look at the top engine move, and secondly, I will look at how many times a move is played. And third of all, if I do not really like the top engine move, I'll look at the second, maybe the third or the fourth. But typically I'll pick the top, and if I don't, then the top and the second or third must have little differences. Like if it's like a 0.5 difference between the top and the second, then I'll definitely pick the top. But I do not only just look at engine evaluation for my candidate moves. I'll also look at how many times a move has been played. And for this, I use the Lichess database, I use the Masters database, and the Lichess Players database. So I use a combination of 3 factors when deciding what to pick as my candidate move. So I think it is a great system if you want to pick like a move in response to the old Steinitz, let's say. You shouldn't really just only look at the engine moves. Like, you should take consideration into what kind of structures, what kind of positions, or I guess trades, pawn structures that you feel comfortable in. Like, sometimes there are positions where the engine thinks that you're fine and maybe you even have an advantage, but you yourself as a player is not familiar with that position and don't know the basic plans, traps of the position. So, in my opinion, I would definitely pick the second or third engine move over the first if I understand the position better. And that's just my overall tip for people who want to create an open repertoire, because it is definitely more important to memorize the basic plans of each position rather than the moves. But I guess that's pretty much it for this video. I've shown you my opening repertoire. I haven't really gone in detail about the moves, but and once again, I haven't really had time to work on this for a really long period of time. Like, there are, by the time I've done this entire repertoire, maybe like 3 years, 2 years from now on, I bet there will be thousands of moves that I have to remember. And I might not be able to remember all of these moves, but I'll certainly make an effort to remember most of the ideas and concepts behind each move. But that's pretty much for today. And I guess I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.